somewhere off Highway 1, on a stretch of California coastline most tourists drive right past. There's a property that used to be listed on Airbnb. It's not listed anymore. I'm about to tell you what happened to one family who stayed there. A family who didn't believe in ghosts, didn't go looking for a scare, and left convinced that something evil had happened on that land. There's a locked barn, a structure built into a hillside with a warning sign nailed to the door, a wooden deck hanging over a cliff with no railing at all. And on the second night, something came inside. Stick around, because by the end of this video, I'll show you exactly where this house is, and you can look it up yourself. A family from Northern California decided to take a small weekend trip to celebrate the dad's birthday. Nothing dramatic, just a short drive down Highway 1 to a tiny beach town, where they'd booked a multi-unit Airbnb near the ocean cliffs. They arrived close to midnight, and before anyone even said a word about it, two of the siblings independently felt the exact same thing the moment they stepped out of the car, a strange, heavy vibe coming off the property. They didn't mention it to their parents. They just chalked it up to being tired and being somewhere unfamiliar in the dark. So they unpacked and went to bed. But the next morning, in the daylight, they got their first real look at the place. And it was beautiful, but something about it still didn't sit right. There were 4 structures on the property. A Hobbit-style building built directly into the side of a hill, with a handwritten sign nailed to it that just said, "Do not enter." A large barn or workshop, which the owner had also told them to stay out of. 3 separate guest units. The family stayed in 2 of them, and never once went inside the third. And a flat wooden lookout deck, positioned right at the edge of the ocean cliff. No railing. Nothing stopping you from walking straight off the edge. They hadn't planned on avoiding that third unit. It just ended up that way. After what happened, none of them wanted to go near it. On their first full day, the dad and one of his friends were outside, when they both saw something at the same time. A figure standing motionless in a window of the barn. There was no host on the property. No one was supposed to be inside that building at all. So naturally, it startled them enough that they walked over to check it out. Here's the detail that makes this hard to explain away. The figure was positioned up near the apex of the roofline, near the top of the window. But when they got closer and looked at the barn, they realized something that didn't add up. The barn only had 1 story. There was no upper floor. No reason for anything to be standing at that height. Confused, they backed up a few steps to look at the window again from a distance. The figure was gone. Completely. No movement. No sign of anyone leaving. They tried the barn doors, locked, every one of them. They never found an explanation. And this was only day 1. Later that day, the family went into town, browsing local shops. At one store, the daughter, who doesn't normally wear jewelry, and has sensory issues that usually stop her from wanting anything touching her skin, found herself unexplainably drawn to a bracelet with a large jade stone. The shop owner told her something she didn't think much of at the time. Jade is considered a protection stone. It's said to shield the person wearing it. She put it on right there in the store and didn't plan on taking it off. At the time, it just felt like a nice souvenir. Looking back, she says it might have been the only reason she made it through what came next. That evening, the family sat together and admitted out loud what they'd all been feeling. That something about this property felt wrong. The daughter brought up something that had been bothering her since they arrived. Her dog. He has severe separation anxiety. He does not leave her side, ever. But at this property, he refused to enter the unit she and her brother were staying in. He'd sit outside the door and just watch her through it. She tried dragging him inside multiple times. Every single time, he immediately went to the door and scratched to be let back out. That night, she was on the couch in her unit, a couch positioned directly in front of sliding glass, doors that faced the ocean cliff, trying to relax by crocheting. And she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched from outside. She assumed it was the dog. It wasn't. When she and her brother went out to check with flashlights, they found her dog inside her parents' unit. And her mom confirmed he'd been in there for 20 to 30 minutes already. Someone, or something, had been watching her through that glass. Not the dog. The next night is the one this family will never forget. She was back on that same couch, crocheting. Same feeling of being watched crawling up her spine. This time she didn't go investigate. She just kept glancing up, checking, and continued on. Her brother went to bed early, leaving her downstairs alone with that feeling. By 2 a.m., she couldn't take it anymore. She locked every door in the unit, and for the sliding glass door, She improvised a second lock, jamming a wooden broom handle into the track so it physically could not slide open. Here's the layout you need to picture. Her bed wasn't in a separate room. It was an open loft space, positioned right against the wall of her brother's bedroom, directly at the top of the stairs. No door, no wall, just open air between her bed and the staircase down to the living room. She got into bed, and that's when she heard it. Small footsteps, almost childlike, moving through the kitchen and living room below her, the rhythm, almost like skipping, almost like dancing. Then a metallic sound, like something metal being dragged slowly across a surface. The dragging turned into tapping. She never heard a door open, never heard a lock turn. Whatever was making these sounds had been inside the house the entire time. She was frozen, completely locked in place by fear, just listening, with absolutely nothing between her and whatever was downstairs. Then her phone slipped and hit the floor. The footsteps stopped instantly, and then she heard them again, running, fast, small, frantic footsteps, tearing straight up the stairs toward her. She grabbed her pillow, pulled it over her head, and started repeating, asterisk, please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me. Asterisk. She heard the footsteps reach the top of the stairs, reach her bed, and then she felt pressure pushing down on her pillow. She tried to move. She couldn't. She doesn't know if it was pure fear, locking her body in place, or something else holding her there. She kept pleading into the pillow until, at some point, she blacked out. She woke up the next morning with no memory of anything after that pressure on the pillow. She ran straight to her parents' unit the next morning to tell them everything. That's when she learned they'd had their own night of terror. Her dad had moved to the couch partway through the night because his snoring was keeping her mom awake. A few hours later, her mom woke up to a figure standing at the foot of the bed and assumed, half asleep, that it was her husband. She spoke to it, asked what he was doing just standing there. The figure didn't move, didn't answer. Once she registered that this wasn't her husband, she screamed. Her dad came running in from the living room, and the figure vanished the instant he entered. He told them he hadn't slept at all that night either. He'd been hearing heavy footsteps walking through the house, sometimes sounding like they were directly behind him. Every time he turned to check, there was nothing there. He never managed to fall asleep. By 4 a.m., both parents just gave up and stayed up watching movies instead. The brother and family friends in the other unit? Nothing. No experience at all. And that's part of what made this family second-guess themselves. They know each other well enough to know none of them are the type to make something like this up for attention. Here's the detail nobody in the family could explain. That jade bracelet, the one she'd felt so drawn to, the one she'd been told would protect her, had changed color. It had been a light, milky green when she bought it. Now, a large portion of the stone was a deep, almost black green. They washed it. The color didn't come off because it wasn't on the surface. The stone itself had changed. Now, there are boring scientific explanations for jade's shifting color, body oils, temperature, lighting. But this stone was brand new, and the change never reversed, no matter what conditions they put it in afterward. Some people believe jade absorbs negative energy, and that a dramatic color change like this is a sign. The stone did exactly the job it was supposed to do. The family walked away from that weekend with a theory they couldn't shake, that at some point, someone had used that isolated property to hurt children. The cliffside location, the locked barn, the unit nobody ever went inside. It all lined up in their minds a little too well. They believed the parents may have encountered whoever was responsible, and that the daughter had an encounter with one of the victims. Maybe that sounds like a leap, but when you're the one lying frozen in bed at 2 a.m., feeling a weight pressed down on your pillow with nothing scientific to explain it, you stop needing proof. You just know. The property isn't listed on Airbnb anymore, but it's still out there, on a quiet stretch of Highway 1 in Elk, California, and you can still find it if you look. If a story like this gives you chills, subscribe, because we cover real, first-hand paranormal encounters like this every week. And let me know in the comments, do you think this family stayed somewhere with a dark history, or is there something else going on here? Drop your theory below.